Good afternoon, students and staff. We are so excited to have you here for this very special assembly. Our special guest today, as you know, is Mr. Tony Hillery. He's the author of Harlem Grown, which, as you know, is one of our Book of the Month books that we chose last school year. So you might remember this book from last year. Some of our newer students who maybe haven't heard the book, you'll get a chance to hear it right now, as well as a lot more from Mr. Hillery about this true story. As you know, every month at Yates, we do a Book of the Month that's related to our Second Step program. One book, one school. And we all enjoyed this book very much last year. And we are excited to have you, Mr. Hillery, to hear more about this amazing, true story. Let's give a round of applause.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you. That's good for my ego. It makes me feel important. How is everybody today? Good! Me too. This is the highlight of my day, coming around, talking to schools, sharing the story that was Harlem Grown. Harlem Grown is a true story. You do know that, right? It's not make-believe. So, with a show of hands, could everybody tell me who's been in New York City before? Wow, so you guys know. New York City is just like Schenectady, right? It's the same exact thing, right? No, it's not. No, it's not. New York City has 8.5 million people in it. All of our buildings go this way and not this way, like your building. We don't have grass in New York City. We don't have a lot of trees in certain neighborhoods in New York City. And we have a lot of children in New York City. Children just like you guys. So, one day I had some free time and I decided I was going to volunteer in a school. And I walked in not knowing anything about volunteering or being a teacher. But I met some children very similar to you guys, and a little girl in particular. Her name was Nevaeh. She was in kindergarten. She was the tiniest little girl you've ever seen with glasses this big. And Nevaeh changed my life. That was 12 years ago, and I've been going to that school every day since. All right? So, has anybody read this book before? Has anybody seen it? And now anybody can tell me, what is the title of this book? That's what you think? Everybody makes the same mistake. What about that very important sentence on the top? Then Harlem Grown. So that idea, boys and girls, it wasn't my idea. It was our idea, led by a kindergarten child named Nevaeh. So that is the origins of the story. So if you can see, that's the book. No, I'm going to stay on the cover. So, how one big idea transformed the neighborhood. Everybody knows transform means change, right? Yes. Okay. Harlem Grown, beautifully illustrated by Jesse Hartland. Now we know what illustrated means, right? Yeah. Pictures, the drawing, right? Yeah. I can't draw a lick. I had a hard time writing the book, to be honest with you. But I did all the words. So, beautifully illustrated by Jesse Hartland and written by a very handsome gentleman, very handsome, very kind and charismatic, named Tony Hillery. And thank you very much. You see? So, how one big idea transformed the neighborhood, Harlem Grown, illustrated by Jesse Hartland, written by Tony Hillery. Now, when you come to our garden, these are all the things you'll see in there. And you're going to see, as I explain what we found, these are all the things that are in there. Yes, there's a raccoon in Harlem. Yes, there's chickens. There's everything you see here. You see in the garden. So turn. Now, here is one of the differences between Harlem and Schenectady. Look at this landscape. You see all of the stores and buildings right next to each other? You don't see spaces in between. There's not a lot of nature. There's not a lot of grass. Okay, turn. You ready? Yeah. All right. This is exactly what I'm saying here. You have all of these buildings right on top of each other. Oh, you would think I've done this before. Sorry. All right. Once in a big city called New York, in a bustling neighborhood called Harlem, there was an empty lot. Now, bustling means busy, day and night, people moving around, very busy. But take a look at that, take a look at this illustration. Now go back on, and did you center it on the one with the garden? That one. You see that? These are all apartment buildings surrounding the empty lot. Nevaeh called it the haunted garden. It was cluttered with wrecked couches, old TVs, broken bottles, and empty cans. And there was a cat in there. You see that cat? Yeah. It really wasn't haunted, but it looked haunted to the children because it was a bunch of trash. Turn. Once in a big city, in a bustling neighborhood, there was Nevaeh School. PS 175 it was called, and it sat right across from the haunted garden. Now you see that illustration? The yellow building is the school. There's the haunted garden across the street. So imagine every day you looking out of your classroom windows and you're looking at a haunted garden full with trash and dirt. Instead of looking at that beautiful yard you look at and the trees and the parking lot, we look at the haunted garden. Turn. And one day, a man came to PS 175. Mr. Tony, the kids called him.
That's you.
Ah.
Yeah, that's you.
And when Mr. Tony saw those kids and that haunted garden, he had an idea.
Then we already know your idea.
Oh, you think you know? So, he began to clear the haunted garden, one piece of trash at a time. The boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, look at that image. That's not me, is it? What do you see in that image? Right. In the back is me and Nevaeh. When we started cleaning it out, some of the neighbors came out of their building and have started helping us. So this is what community looks like. So all of us started cleaning it out. And soon, it was a clean slate, a blank canvas. But look at this image, boys and girls. You see the empty, clean lot? Look around it. All the stores and apartment buildings right on top of the garden. That shows you how close everything is in New York City. Turn. And Mr. Tony laid down new, clean soil, and he invited Nevaeh to help. Now you see me in my big wheelbarrow, and Nevaeh with a little one. And we had to go to Home Depot and buy all of these supplies of soil and mulch and shovels and hoses and seeds. And then Nevaeh started to plant. I saw some of you guys starting seedlings in your classrooms. And we did the same thing. So Nevaeh took her seeds, put them in the little pot, watered it, put it in the sun, and then she dug holes in the ground, and into the holes, she carefully placed her seedlings, and then she carefully covered them with soil. And her friends came too. 400 seedlings went into the ground, one for each child. And you see all of these different activities going on in there. Can you imagine 400 children in an area about as big as this auditorium? This auditorium is bigger than our lot. It's very small, but we do a lot with it. We planted basil, mint, cilantro, rosemary. And then the kids watered and weeded. And their plants began to grow. I know you guys read this book. But once when Nevaeh came to the lot after school, her plant was wilted and sad. We'll try again, said Mr. Tony, and we'll plant something different. So now, wood, hammer, nails, Mr. Tony built raised beds for the plants, and the kids tried again. But this time, we planted peas, broccoli, mint, eggplant, and they watered and weeded. My favorite illustration. At last, food. I love the way they spell food with the fruits and vegetables. But now, we have tomatoes and cucumbers and peppers and blueberries, strawberries, collard greens, kale, basil, arugula. A lot of food. It's like a lettuce, it's kind of spicy, it's delicious. So Mr. Tony watched and helped and smiled as more kids came from the neighborhood. They tended their plants, which grew and grew, and up came more fruits and vegetables. And then the kids took their green beans and carrots and cucumbers home to their families for dinner. And once in a big city called New York, in a bustling neighborhood called Harlem, there was a man with an idea. And there were kids who wanted to help. And they made a farm. And we do have a farm. We took that empty lot, and now we have a complete farm. We have 26 hens that lay farm fresh eggs every day. We grow thousands of pounds of organic produce, fruits and vegetables, which is all free for the community. We don't charge 1 penny. I've been here from this morning, and I've been to some of your classes, and we were doing a couple of exercising called mapping, where you draw out your community. You guys have the Walmart. We don't have a Walmart in New York City. You have all these places to go shopping. We don't have those in New York City. If you can imagine, in a 3-block radius of that first school and that farm, we have 55 fast food restaurants with 29 pharmacies and not one supermarket. So to eat healthy is very, very difficult in that community. That's why we grow the way we grow. But we really grow people, because you know Nevaeh, everybody knows Nevaeh. Everybody asks me, how's Nevaeh, where's Nevaeh? This was when Nevaeh was in kindergarten. This book sold a lot of copies. And the money from this book pays Nevaeh's tuition. She goes to an all-girl private school in Midtown Manhattan, where she's now a high school junior on the honor roll. We just finished the second book that will be out next year, and that's her college. But more importantly, we hire her mother as our agricultural director, running all 13 sites of ours now, and our biggest team. So it is much, much more than fruits and vegetables. That's what we plant. But we grow healthy children in sustainable communities. And I know you guys are kind of young, and what's a sustainable community? That's a community where you could live, work, and play in your house. You don't have to go somewhere else to make your money and then go somewhere else to spend it, somewhere else to have a good time. We do that right there in Harlem, through this little farm. So, you see how big this room is? We had our Earth Day opening last Saturday. We had 300 people register to come, and we had over 750 people show up. all led by the children in the school who do these gardens. So somebody somewhere told me that you have school gardens around here. Is that true? You have one here? But more importantly, has any of you planted anything in that garden? Okay, no, show of hands. Who planted something? Now here's the big question. Who tasted what came out of that hole? Now, who liked what they tasted? See? Same thing in Harlem. But what we found, my kids like it, but you can't get it. Isn't that a problem? We wish we had a Walmart that we could go to and get everything under one roof, but we don't. So what we did with the children, Nevaeh in particular, Nevaeh is my boss, boys and girls, I'll tell you. I work for her. She's in charge around here. It wasn't fair for our kids to be able to do what they did, to grow this stuff, to eat it, and to like it, and not be able to get it. So that's why we grow around, I don't know, you guys know, 6,000 pounds of organic produce and fruits. Everything is free of charge. We don't charge for it. You work in there, you get free food. And who's been to New York before? And who's coming to New York soon? Because I want you to come up and see what we've grown there. We have 13 farms. We have a lot of children. About 7,000 children come through our farms a year. And they all go home with fresh produce and fruits, free of charge. Do we have time for Q&A? I know we have some questions, but before you ask questions, I want to read a little note that I wrote in the back, all right? We're not going to do the whole thing, but there's some important information here. Next to this beautiful picture of a handsome young man standing there. Thank you. So, dear reader, first things first, there's something I want you all to know. I am no garden expert. I'll even let you in on a little secret. I've killed more plants than I have been able to grow. I knew nothing about what it takes to grow a single plant, let alone start an entire farm. But I saw a problem and met Nevaeh, and I wanted to fix it. And that's how together we made this farm with the children. So, I'm sure, anybody show of hands, any of you children, have you ever had an idea? What do you do with your idea? Do you share them? Do you write them down? Or you just forget it until you have another one? I mean, what happens? It's very important. It's very important to use your imagination. It's very important for you to share your ideas, because you never know what your idea can turn into. You see what Nevaeh's idea turned into? That could be your idea. So please, always think and dream big, because you never know where it will lead. So I want to have some questions, and I know everybody's going to ask me about Nevaeh. Nevaeh is fine. Let me tell you, I'm here reading to you. Nevaeh is with her school in Italy for 2 weeks on a school trip. There's something very wrong with that. I've never been to Italy, all right? So Nevaeh is fine. She's real. She's 16, a junior in high school, and we're looking at colleges. But who's your Nevaeh? Maybe it's you. So let's go with some questions. Who has some questions in the room? I got it. No, you can get it. Let's see. The young lady in the front. Yeah, you. Come on. Boys and girls, listen to your classmate, all right? Let's be respectful.
What does New York look like?
New York is very big and busy and beautiful. Depends on what park you went to. We can talk about that later, but you gotta come. Let's see, young man in the back. You, yeah, come on. No, he got it. Come on. Don't be shy. And watch him get up here and forget the question. Happens every day. How you doing, sir? What's your question?
How did she make it?
How did she make what?
The book.
No, bring that question.
How did she make the book?
Okay. Well, because Nevaeh was only in kindergarten, they needed an adult. So I was the person chosen. So Nevaeh and I did it together. Like in Harlem Grown, we do everything together. Because remember I said I don't know how to plant a plant, but I know how to look it up on my phone. I know how to go to YouTube and say how to. So the kids love to ask me a question because my best answer is I don't know. Let's look it up. So we learn together. A good question. Thank you. Yes, sir, in the front.
Why are there no supermarkets in Harlem?
That's a great question. Well, there's two reasons. I say land is very expensive in Manhattan. Supermarkets are really big. You know there's no gas stations either. Yeah. Because it's so big, you have to rent. You pay money for how big the space is. So if they had a supermarket, you would go in and you might spend $20 on a loaf of bread, right? So that's one reason. The other reason is a little petty, but good question. We're in New York State. I'm in New York City. Young lady. Yeah. Don't sing.
How did you spell the long words?
With a lot of help. With a lot of help. So, you can, yeah.
Where is the man?
I knew it! I can never get away without a Nevaeh question. Nevaeh right now is in Italy, but she goes to an all-girl private school in Manhattan now. The gentleman in the back with the glasses? Yes, come on. No singing and dancing, this is serious stuff.
Why did you Why did you make this garden? Why did you make it?
He asked me, why did I make this garden? I bet you if you met Nevaeh, you would have made the garden too. So how did you hear what we talked about before? Not having healthy food, nothing but fast food, pharmacies and all of that stuff. Is that fair for a child to grow up with that? That's why I made the farm. If it didn't feel right, I had the time to do something about it. Thank you, I love the class. You. Singing it? He wants to sing it?
Why did you make this book?
I made the book because the book company first asked me, and I didn't want to write the book because it makes the book seem like it's about me when it's not. But the money from the book allows me to do a lot of good things for the community, so that's why I did the book. Great question. Yes. Uh-oh, here we go. No singing and dancing, no singing and dancing.
All right, so we chose this book last year for our PBIS monthly book for cooperation. So can you tell us how this fits with cooperation?
This book does everything with cooperation because you guys went outside and were planting before. You don't start a farm by yourself. You need other people to help you with everything. So our children in Harlem learn patience because you know when Nevaeh planted her seed, she came in every day after school expecting it to be full grown. She even started coming with a ruler and measuring it and telling me the plant was broken because it didn't grow. So it teaches you patience and it teaches you collaboration from moving soil from here to there. We're children. They can't do it by themselves. So it's teamwork. And that's why when you go to Harlem, you don't see me, you see these children in the book. That's their farm. I'm just the person with the voice, but they do all the work. Yes, honey. Uh-oh. Easy, easy. I see that arm. Don't fall. Take it easy. How you doing?
How old were you when you made the book?
Oh, he's this old. I was 51 years old. I know. And I had hair. And I had hair too. Whoa. That's the other question that's going to come, okay? You were ready to cry.
You draw the picture.
No, I can't draw. I had a hard time writing. But a lady named Jessie Hoffman did all the art. And that's why the second book will be out next year, because I'm waiting for the same artist to do the pictures so we have the consistency. Thank you for the question. Let's see, in the back. You're standing up. Yeah, come on. Absolutely. I want to sign something.
When was the book published?
Great question. The book was published 2 years ago, but because of COVID, it didn't get the kind of push it did. But because of schools like this, that book sold 60,000 copies of that book. 60,000. Yeah. Okay, we have one more, and I'm going to let the principal pick it. I'm not picking. Well, you pick? Too much pressure. The last question. All right, I'm here all day. Don't worry, we'll talk offline, all right?
How old was Nevaeh?
Nevaeh was 6 years old, but now she's she was 5 years old, and now she's 16, about to be 17. It's been a long, how old are you? See, you can make a farm. So, boys and girls, hold your questions and they'll catch me after, but we want to do something else now, real quick.
Thank you so much. We're going to call each class to come up one at a time, and we can have your picture taken with Mr. Hillery. And we also have extra copies of his book. So if your classroom does not have a copy, you're welcome to take a copy. And Mr. Hillery is going to sign a few copies for our school, which is so exciting. So let's give him a round of applause before we call